Quick show of hands. Who's got an account on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter? I know I'm connected to a few of you. Well, for better or for worse, my father would say it's worse. These are not social networking tools. There's nothing social about them. He does not understand technology. He does not understand ones and zeros and bits and bytes and now terabytes of information and online mapping tools and what it does. However, because of these tools, people are beginning to distribute ideas, share their values, communicate to each other, talk more often, whether that's digitally or forcing people to read something, a report, a paper, something like that. But it's really, those tools are allowing information to be distributed much faster, much quicker, be consumed. And to me, when we start talking about geodesign and what it means, I think the power and the future of geodesign is not just about how I'm going to use it as a landscape architect or a planner, but how geodesign can be consumed at an individual level, at a private level, and sort of taking it away from the design industry and pushing it out to the masses. Why? Because public land protection is not enough. It's taken 150 years to conserve and protect 10% of the terrestrial landmass, and we do not have 150 years to save the next 10%. It comes down to how can we engage the private landowners? What are the tools we can give to these people so that they can begin to make better decisions on their own without having to hire myself and my firm to come in and do it for them, because they have their own values, they have their own ideas. We're talking about processes of a design process. Well, how can we as geodesigners implement some of these processes and put them in a consumable format so that people can be using this information and making decisions faster and smarter? Like I said, there's a growing number of private property landowners that want to do their part to save landscapes by identifying potential pathways, and this is one of the tools that we've realized after working with several of these large private landowners. They want to connect. They want to connect their property to their neighbors' properties because geospatial data, their landscapes are contiguous. They want to get linked in together. And so, how can private landowners and the neighbors work together to establish what I would call a social stewardship network or a private conservation network? What I'm going to talk about is a pilot process that began by picking two pieces of land separated by approximately 8 miles and 2,500 feet in elevation. One parcel is in the Okanagan Highlands, the other in the valley near the Okanagan River in north central Washington. The goal is to create an informal path or walking route between these two properties, linking these people, these neighbors, as conservation partners. Creating a route that through the most interesting parts of the landscape, the parts of the landscape that have most value to these two neighbors, and utilizing where possible public land or land with conservation easements can be integrated into this process. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Washington State and the Okanagan Valley, here, this is a map of the state of Washington divided into hydrologic basins. The pilot process is part of the upper Columbia region, or the upper Columbia Basin, and the Okanagan Subbasin is highlighted, is located in like I said, in the upper Columbia Basin. The subbasin contains 5 different watersheds. The 2 committed landowners are located in the upper Okanagan watershed, and the highlights, the 2 little dots. Well, if we begin to sort of zoom in, It's further divided into 8 sub-watersheds. Now what we did, through the power of GeoDesign and specifically Model Builder, we created a private conservation path and network model that utilized the extensive local knowledge of staff members from the Okanagan Valley Land Council, used it to assess or develop a regional landscape inventory and GIS modeling. There's 4 steps to the model. The contributing inputs, the walkable landscape suitability submodel, potential path routes, and finally the conservation networks. The first step with the model is not to, again, we're talking about private landowners, but what we want to do is begin to get people to realize that they're part of an overall connected landscape. So the first thing we do is develop a spatial framework and understand how the landscape is shaped by hydrology or water. So utilizing a tool, ArcHydro, we're able to take some of these sub-watersheds, look at the DEM, the topography, and begin to create smaller and smaller units. And so, we're talking about HUC levels, the hydrologic unit code levels. And in this case, we developed the main stem, Upper Okanagan, the Whiskey Cache Creek, and the Lower Antwine Creek sub-watershed.